welcome back to another Just 15 Minutes. Um, so, what have we got this time around? A research tool slash sort of AI investigation tool. Anyway, whatever you want to call it, it's NotebookLM by Google. Okay. And it's essentially a way of providing some sources of data, PDFs or text, or other types of files, including audio, I might add. And there is quite a nice way of extracting the audio, a little bit like OpenAI. The people who brought you ChatGPT, they've got Whisper, which you can get transcripts in any language. Actually, that's quite a good one to look at sometime. You can get all the transcripts out and all that sort of stuff. But with NotebookLM as well, you can take like essentially a blog post or something like that, and it creates a podcast, an audio version of that as well. So we'll have a little look at that as well. Um, but ultimately, where I've started, it is free. You can have up to, I think, 50 sources. Yeah, and we'll get into that in a second. So the idea is you can upload files, PDF, text, Markdown, audio. So that's where you can get transcripts of audio and things like that. But you can also, because it's Google, you can hook into Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Slides, spreadsheets, whatever it might be. You've got links to a website, YouTube as well. That is quite an interesting one. Okay, so you can have a YouTube video and what NotebookLM will allow you to do, because the whole point of this is that you get these sources of data, and a little bit like ChatGPT, you can then ask questions based on that data that you've provided. So, and the good thing is as well, by default, there are other settings, but by default, it will only look at that source of data. Okay, so that's that's quite a nice thing. A little bit like with OpenAI's assistants, that is also similar to this as well. You can build some interesting agents with the OpenAI assistants, though, because you can call out to external functions or tools. So you can call different sort of APIs, maybe, or things like that. So there's a bit more breadth, maybe, with those things, but there's also a little bit more complexity. GitHub, sorry, not GitHub Copilot. That's for coding, but Copilot, Microsoft's Copilot, which it's everywhere. You've got the free version, but if you want Copilot to work on your own data, you do have to then like purchase the whatever it is. $20 a month for Copilot Professional or something like that. I've got a trial going at the moment just to see how that goes. But they're like with a lot of these subscriptions start to creep in, don't they, and build up quite a bit. So especially if you've got like ChatGPT Professional, where you're paying, they're all doing it and fine. There's been a lot of resources used, and they've got to recoup the money, haven't they? These poor multi-billion-dollar industries. But anyway, the idea is there's a lot of these options out there, but NotebookLM in a lot of ways seems to be one of the easiest. I think Microsoft Copilot goes with that, but again, for a free version at the moment anyway, again, up to 50 sources of data. So whether that's a document, text, audio, a link, whatever it might be, they count towards your 50 sources. Okay, but it's quite good to be free for that amount and to be able to have conversations, which we'll check in a sec. So, so it's good for doing, summaries of stuff. There's lots of these tools out there, but again, it seems to be a little bit more cohesive with NotebookLM. It's quite easy to get into. You just go to notebooklm.google.com, sign in with your Google account, and then you're up and away, sort of thing. So there's no sort of real setup or things that you have to go through. So Yep, you can upload files. We'll come back to this shortly. But what I've done, the company I work for in my day job, we've got a product for middleware for integration. But anyway, enough about that. It's not an official one, but I've got a load of white papers, okay, that are public. I'm not using anything that's sort of private here, though. So they're all like about our tools and our connections. Okay, so our product, which is BPA, Business Process Application, it's, as I say, it's a middleware integration tool to connect ERP account systems to e-commerce systems to whatever, to lots of other systems as well. Okay, so we've got lots of different tools, CRM tools, other other tools, but there's a lot of information, and we're at that age now in the world of IT where a lot of people don't even have time to go and read a 20-page PDF. So with good old AI, let's break that down and see if we can ask questions. So what I've done, I've uploaded these public PDFs, okay, but also there is a knowledge base that I've got access to as well. Okay, again, it's on our public website, so nothing secret or private here. But so what I've done, I've pointed at where our knowledge base is. So that was when you add a source, you can go to a website, okay, and add a link, and it will crawl that information, but obviously, there's a lot of privacy sort of stuff there, so it'll only crawl public stuff. So if there's something like in a lot of these websites now, where for years there's been a robots.txt file that says whether to crawl the site or not, and you have a site map, there's an equal sort of thing to say for an AI tool not to go and scrape the data. So there's things like that. But if it's a public website, generally speaking, you can use that data. Okay. Same with YouTube. If it's a public YouTube, that's able to put in there, and I've done that. I've got a video link there that one of our extremely talented team, well, actually not just one, there's a team of people put these videos together on YouTube, but I can use the YouTube specifically as a source of data. Okay, and again, you can use MP3 audio, MP4s, whatever it might be. But most of my data is sort of white papers, and I picked this because A, it's pertinent to what I'm doing in my day job, and also it's a good set of sources to actually work out what's going on. Okay, so the very first thing that you can do is you can start typing against that. Can I am doing this one-handed because I'm holding a microphone because I'm not posh. I don't have one of those fancy microphones with a stand yet. So anyway, can I uh, connect to HubSpot? CRM with BPA. Now, this is a really easy one. You could probably find this on the website anyway, but let's just see. Because it's going to be looking at the sources of data here, um, it's not particularly fast, but it is free. So, so the idea is, you got to be prepared to take a little bit of a hit. You're not paying for this. So you can see connecting with BPA. So BPA platform is the tool that I mentioned. Yes, you can connect using the HubSpot integration tool. Blah, blah, blah. There's a little bit information here, but there's all things about what version you need. There, there's some. These are old versions actually, but I think it's saying what the minimum version you can use. But anyway, there's some quite interesting things here. Can I connect? Let's try this one to Shopify. Let's try that. I'm sure we can. Now, these things are obviously the very basic prompts, but within these PDFs and the knowledge base and everything else that goes in there, there's a depth of uh, sort of information there that, again, unless you've got time to go and read through all this stuff, you can at least get that. And you can do things like, can you summarize this in 5 points, or can you delve a little bit further into the, the setup of what I need to connect to Shopify? But you get the idea. Okay, so this is the type of thing. It's like the Chat GPT experience. You can save the notes because that's what it is, Notebook LM. So you can save these, or summarize it. You can copy. You can do all sorts of things, and away you go. So you could, if that's something of interest, once you've got the source of data, um, then that's it. Now, again, because you're essentially uploading to Google these documents, you wouldn't really want sort of private data or any sensitive data there, possibly. Um, Funny enough, with uh, and again, there's lots of these tools, but Microsoft Azure, with some of their AI platforms now, you can use Docker containers for their cognitive search, or what was called cognitive search. I think they've moved it into the Microsoft AI Studio, that type of thing. But that allows you to keep everything on your infrastructure, which is quite an interesting thing. Um, I'm working away at some stuff on that as well. I'm working away at quite a few things, but that's certainly one. In fact, the what was Azure Cognitive Search, I started that about 8 years ago. And still haven't really quite got to, a useful thing. I did. It's good. It's like everything. You just have to play with stuff, find out what works and where there is a value, more than anything. So anyway, but Notebook LM is quite good. Like I say, you can point it at lots of different sources of data, and it will only look at this set of data that you're providing. And of course, you can uh, go back to the menu. I think it goes back here, doesn't it? Yeah. There's some example ones here. There's my test one. So the 50 sources of data are per notebook, which is quite interesting. So if you create another notebook, that could be on a totally different subject, and you've got another 50 sources that you can use. But we'll pop back into there. So that's all great, isn't it? But what you can do is you can take, like, I've got a knowledge base. It's probably not the best thing to use for this example, but if I select a source, now this could be a website link to like a blog or something like that. And what you can do, you can click on this notebook guide here. It's a little bit inobtrusive, but it's quite an important one. So if I click that, there's quite a few things, like, help me create an FAQ for this, a study guide, table of contents, briefing document. That's actually quite useful. If you've got some fairly lengthy PDFs, it can shorten that down for you, of course, and all sorts of wonderful things. So there's a lot of things that you can do, but you can actually generate audio from this. Okay, now this isn't necessarily a great option, like I mentioned, but you can load, and what it will do is it'll convert it intelligent. It's not like just okay, I'll just grab all the text and plonk it into some sort of audio. It does it quite intelligently. In fact, if you have a look here, I think it explains there. It goes through. Oh, come here. Where are you? Yep. Deep dive discussions that summarize the key topics of your sources. It's quite an interesting thing to try, actually. And especially if you've got, again, a lengthy website blog, or data that you want to summarize and have it in audio format, which, to be honest, I'm more of an audio type person than reading. I think I look at the screen all day, and it's like with reading books, I tend to use Audible or something like that to listen to books, because it saves my eyes a little bit. But anyway, that is really useful. There's not really much point showing you that. I don't want to waste your time playing an audio, but it's worth trying if you've got, like I say, a website link, because obviously, again, one of your let's just hide that for a sec. One of your sources of data is just straight to a website, or indeed just text or PDF or Markdown. Any of that data can be passed through to that notebook guide there, and you can literally have an audio. It generally creates what I would say is like a podcast format. It's very conversational. It isn't just word for word, just repeating it, just like some, mundane sort of option. So anyway, but that is in sort of 15 minutes. Notebook LM. It's worth having a try. So hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe, of course. I have to say that, don't I? And take care, enjoy your weekend or week, and we'll catch you on the next one.